everybody? It's your man Cigar Make, man, and I want to welcome you for a very special edition of Cigars and Conversation with the Puff a Minute. It's special because today there's no cigars involved, right? We're going to have a good conversation with my guest today, Mr. J.E. Jones, all right, who is here as the executive director of the Core Foundation. Now, why is this important to the cigar community? All right, because our home lounge, Tap and Ash, right now is about to have its inaugural golf outing this year, and the nonprofit recipient of a lot of those proceeds is going to be the Core Foundation. So if you're going to participate in this, you probably want to know a little bit about who Core is. You might want to know a little bit about what they do in the community, and that's why I'm sitting down with my man, Mr. J. Jones, today to tell you a little bit more about that. So, Jeff, Jay,
yes,
Jazz,
yes, sir.
All of those things, brother. Good to have you today, man. Welcome to a Puff a Minute.
Thank you, sir. It's an honor to be here. An honor to sit down with you.
Yes, sir.
About Core.
I love it, man. I love it. So again, a lot of folks out there who aren't familiar with Core, right? With the mission, right? With the the principles behind it, or even how it came to be, right? What can you tell us a little bit about Core right now, just to familiarize the audience?
So Core, essentially, derived from our founder, who is Lindsay Harper. She was part of the I Have a Dream Foundation, and she felt like we needed to have a more robust program, a more inclusive program to give families, scholars and families, a little more to try to support them better. Mm-hmm. And so our mission is essentially to give historically underserved youth and their families economic mobility and an opportunity to live what we call choice-filled lives.
Okay.
So what that means for Core is that we do everything we can do to support those families and give them pathways to being successful and indoctrinate success in the scholars. But we also, as a two-generation program, work with their parents in our Parent Academy and work with them with their own trauma and whatnot and the skills to try to get them to be better people. Because we know that in order for success to be sustainable, then you have to work with families long term. Right? Okay. So we're a long term program, and what that means is we work with kids and their families, scholars and their families, from 6th grade all the way to 12th grade, then 2 years post graduation.
Love it.
So for us, it's a long term program. It's indoctrination. It's social emotional awareness, self awareness. It's community service opportunities that wouldn't otherwise exist. Okay. It's enrichment workshops with the elderly, or art or poetry, just an indoctrination of things outside of their world and comfort zone where they are given opportunities that wouldn't otherwise exist. We teach them how.
Outstanding. So why is Core so personal for you, right? So how has your life brought you to this position at this time?
Well, for me, I grew up as an underserved youth. Okay. And I was always looking for some way to be successful. And I saw success, but I didn't know how to obtain it, didn't know how to be there. Right. And success for me might have meant someone wearing a suit, someone driving a fancy car, or something. And I lived in a historically underserved community. Okay. And there was a program called Kids on the Move that impacted me in a great way. Wow. All it really did was expose us to other factions in the community. Yes. Bigger things, open our visions up to see what the possibilities were, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
But educationally, I went to Rancho High School. A lot of folks there were underserved youth. I went on to do some things that I'm not proud of, which ended up me making the choice to go to the Army and get out of the community.
Understood.
And so once I was able to do that, then a friend of mine asked me, hey, you ever thought about going to college? Sweet Lou Collins, my best friend, said, hey, you ever thought about going to college? He was going to Grambling State University. Right. I said, no, not really. He sent me the application. Wow. And while I was at Grambling State University, I was a criminal justice major, and I started working at the Methodist Children's Home, which was sort of an orphanage or a group home setting for underserved youth. Okay. And I gravitated to that field because it just resonated with me in a whole different way, because I felt like I was actually making an impact in these kids' lives because they would tell me that, that they knew that I supported them.
Right.
And so when I graduated from Grambling and left the Methodist Children's Home, then my first and only job was Department of Juvenile Justice Services, where I served in many capacities, but ultimately became a division manager and director of Spring Mountain Youth Camp. Which was a place that's been there for 60 years. And I was the first African American in the 60-year history to be the manager, be division manager.
Wow. Okay.
So, in doing that, then it always was a way to show kids a different way to be successful. You don't have to sell drugs. That you don't have to steal things. That if you get educated, then you can live what we call choice-filled lives. Right. You can live any way you want to, but you have to put in the work, and you have to surround yourself around people who want to be successful. And how we do that at CORE is every day we program. You come to an after-school program. We talk about things that make you successful. We talk about principles of life and make yourself aware. And those scholars in our program, they don't just have a blanketed case plan. We go into the home and find out what the trauma is, what the issues are. We sit down with them. There's an advisor that works with them every day that facilitates our program and our curriculum. But there's also a social emotional champion that is talking to them about their day-to-day problems. Taking the time one-on-one to talk to them about that. So how I got into it was it aligned with my purpose. And my purpose is I want to make an impact in my community by helping people find their authentic self and the value in themselves.
Gotcha.
And I've been doing that for a long time, and so coming to CORE and there was a nationwide search. When I was on the board of CORE, we elevated our esteemed founder and former CEO, Lindsay Harper. We elevated her to CEO from ED, from executive director. And we decided we were going to do a nationwide search on an executive director. Now, I was retired at the time. And
so you thought you were
smoking cigars and traveling every 3 weeks and living my life. But I love engaging with CORE as a board member. And so I look forward to that. And so I threw my hat in the ring, and the next thing I know, I'm working. It's been over a year for me now in this position. And so I'm back in it, I guess.
I love it.
But it aligned with my purpose because we help people, and we help people that haven't had the opportunity to be successful. But they have their stick-to-itness, and they have the grit to be successful. It's just they need opportunity.
I love it.
And so we create that for them, and pathways and indoctrination just by being there. And caring.
The two times, while you were talking, you used the word purpose, with yourself, and I feel like it's very important. I believe that everyone has a purpose.
Absolutely.
I feel like it's very difficult for most people to discover what that purpose is, But once you discover that purpose, it's empowering, and there's nothing that can stop you or move you off of that purpose, 100%. So, I mean, you've been doing what you've been doing in the community for many, many years. This is not new to you, Like our friend Sweet Lou, He ain't new to this, He true to this, Or he say he new to this, but you're true to helping the young people in the community that goes way, way back, in your lifetime as you have progressed forward, and I think that's very important. Something else that you said was that giving these scholars choice-filled lives, and I feel like that is something that's very, very important as well, because a lot of times, we're growing up and we think we have choices, but they're not really choices that are going to move us forward, I say we could choose between bad and worse a lot of the times, but unless somebody came in and opened up a window or opened the door to show you another side, then you didn't know that those other choices were even there to be made in the first place. So I feel like that's very, very important, that you're opening up the vision of these scholars, as you say, because even that is powerful in and of itself, because there's a lot of organizations, that are out there to work with young people,
Absolutely.
Yes, there's a lot of organizations, but they might call that person a mentee,
right? Yeah,
right, or they may say, a student, or whatever the case is. But you're already looking at them in the future sense.
I like to say that we think globally.
Yes.
Because you can think locally, but that's just what's in front of you. Right?
Yes.
If you think globally, that's worldwide, nationwide, international.
Yes.
So the sky is not the limit. There is no limit, and so for these scholars, if you talk to them and give them a mindset of no limit, then they produce what that is. Right?
Exactly.
They become that. So a friend of mine, Chef Jeff Henderson, says, if you can see it, then you can be it.
Yes.
And so we try to put that into our scholars.
How are the scholars selected for the program? How do they, how do they come in from the beginning?
Great question. So for us, we do every year at school. We do an interest meeting.
Okay.
But then we also bring in teachers and counselors and give them kind of an opportunity to see what kind of program it is firsthand. So when school starts, then they can start referring students to us based on their own experience of seeing how we run the program, that we do focus on social, emotional awareness, self-awareness, community service opportunities, and enrichment. And that way they're excited. They're just as excited as us. So the parent, when we have those interest meetings, there's a QR code that's attached, that's given out to the families. Okay. And they can just put it out the QR code, fill out the application, and then they refer, and we do a whole onboarding with the group. Okay. Right, as the group grows, but primarily the teacher, the parent, and the counselors are the ones that refer the scholars. Yes. And we don't just take like great students. Gotcha. Sometimes we take students that have been failing, but their GPAs increase, their attendance increases, and so they become better students because of their affiliation with CORE and their sense of belonging that they have every day of coming to programming and looking forward to seeing some things and opportunities that wouldn't otherwise exist, like going to an Aces game or going to the Smith Center for a play because of our community partnerships, right? And so if there's a scholar that, say for example, is not going to school because he doesn't have the right clothes, then we have partners in Las Vegas that allow a student to come in and shop, on his own, and look better, get himself together, and feel like he's doing something, to feel proud about what he's wearing to school, and he's not getting teased. Right. So that alone is valuable, absolutely, to scholars that we work with, and then it takes the focus off of that. Right. So now I can learn. Now I can focus on my education, and we encourage tutoring. We have tutoring opportunities. So we encourage those scholars to get involved in that way, where they can increase their opportunity to graduate from high school. So we have 100% graduation rate. Wow. 100% graduation from CORE, but also 100% success rate in terms of applying for college, right? Yes. So you're accepted into college. Doesn't mean that you have to go. Right, right. Your options are there, right? And so that's what we want to have, is choice-filled lives.
Love it, love it. I was gonna, you were right there, right? So I was gonna ask you, what are some of the key metrics, right? How you measure success, right? So I heard GPA, right? I heard attendance, 100% graduation rate, 100% graduation from CORE, right?
And you stuck with it. That you stuck with it from 6th grade to 12th grade. Wow. And then post-graduation, and then the CORE alumni academy is a whole nother faction, right? Wow, okay. And so those folks that have graduated from high school and CORE, we still stay in contact with them. We have a liaison that communicates with them on a monthly basis. Nice. And ask them if there's something that they're struggling with, if they need help in a particular area. We had one young man that needed a car because he had a job. So one of our community partners didn't buy the car from him, but he connected them with the car lot that could work with his credit rating, because his credit rating wasn't that great. But because of our community partnerships, then somebody who has access can talk to someone else and say, hey, meet this great young man who's out here working, trying to get himself together. Wow. And, can you give him a break? And they gave him a break.
So essentially, we're talking a holistic, whole life enrichment program.
100%.
From 6th grade Do any of the alumni ever come back?
Yes.
And working within the organization?
Yeah, that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it, is that we do have alumni come back. We just had an alumni panel. We have a program called Career Weekend.
Okay.
And in Career Weekend, we look for folks that have great careers to come and talk to our scholars about how they got to where they are.
Yes.
Like, how did you become an executive director? What was your journey, right?
Yes.
And so there's a platform that we use to do that. But just recently, we did a panel of former scholars that are now alumni, and they talked about their trajectory through CORE, like how they managed and how they grew and how they became now college students and about to graduate, and how enthusiastic they were, because now they look back and see if they had a leg up because they were prepared, right?
Exactly.
So that's big for someone to come. It's almost like having a big brother or big sister, and they come back and explain to you before you even bump your head.
I love it.
Hey, this is the place to be.
Yeah, yeah. That's outstanding, man. And for it to be making such an impact in the community, I'm a full proponent and full believer, right, that if you can help individuals, right, and then those individuals become stronger family owners, right?
Yes.
Stronger family members, I should say.
Yeah.
And then they become stronger members of the community,
100%.
right? And that's how you impact the world, right? You have to do that one individual at a time. Incremental, in the incremental gains, man, is what it's really about.
Absolutely.
So I love the mission. I love what we're doing here at CORE. So excited to partner, right, with CORE through Tap and Ash, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we move forward.
Right.
But
CORE is a two-generation program, and what that means for us is that we don't just embrace the scholar, we also embrace the parent. And so the scholar themselves, they get a social emotional champion, which is a social worker, and an advisor, which teaches them a curriculum of how to be a better person, right? That's every day. So we're dealing with social emotional awareness, community service. We give them 50 hours of community service a year, mandatory, right? That's part of the program and curriculum, but also opportunities for enrichment, like art and poetry, and hanging out with the elderly to understand from whence we came and then where we're going, right?
Gotcha.
So those relationships create a whole better person, and it's a holistic approach to how to just live it. Right. And so the two-generation program for us on the parent level, then we give them a social worker and ask them what it is that they want to do with their lives. Right?
Wow. Okay.
And so we had one parent that wanted to learn English, and so we facilitated a connection for her to go to ESL classes, and she graduated from ESL classes. And then once she finished, she said, "Well, I think I want to become a phlebotomist."
Wow.
So we connected her with a phlebotomist school. And now she's in the workforce.
Wow.
And so that changed the trajectory of the family, because now I'm not on a job just over broke. I have a career.
There you go.
Right?
Exactly.
And I can elevate.
Right.
And so now my expectation of my scholar is for that scholar to elevate.
Yes.
And so a lot of that, because we follow our scholars from 6th grade to 12th grade and then post-graduation, then sometimes what happens in that family is maybe their brother or sister will be in the program too, because they've seen the success of the program.
Yeah, like I love the word scholars that you use. Not only are you changing his trajectory, but now you're giving that parent the opportunity for a second act as well.
There you go.
Right? So if you're in a position and you might be on a job or job or just over broke or whatever the case is that you really don't enjoy, and you bring that negative energy home with you, and it
100%.
Impacts the entire family.
Impacts the whole family.
But now you say, you know what, I always wanted to be a chef. I always wanted to do this. And now you're giving them something positive to look forward to, and that changes all of the energy in that household. Right? Everybody is striving for better, man. I think that's a beautiful thing. What are some of the specific programs that CORE that they bring to the students? Like how do we what are the steps of going from, from being initiated, right, or first coming into the program, to reaching that point of graduation, and then how do you follow up with these scholars afterwards?
I'm so glad you asked that. So, because we take a long-term approach, see, when you try to change the trajectory of an entire family, you have to do it over a long term.
Yes.
So it's not. I have a saying: "Don't happen overnight; it happens through the night."
I love it.
Right?
Yes, yes.
And so for us, what happens is we follow that scholar from 6th grade to 12th grade, and how we get those scholars, referrals from the counselors, the teachers, or their parents. We'll put out a QR code or a call to action at a school, and we'll say, "Hey, we're recruiting for this class. If you're this age or if you're in this grade, then come to this interest meeting."
Right.
And so parents and kids come, and then we talk about what we do in court, all of our programming and whatnot. And so then we follow them. We follow those scholars from 6th grade to 12th grade, and then 2 years post graduation. So we have an alumni faction too. So we don't just grab you and talk to you for a year.
Yeah.
We're working on you constantly. We're sending you text messages, and we're getting. And it's because we have a parent academy too.
Okay.
The parent academy gets parents even more involved, and they become cheerleaders, and they run that parent academy themselves.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
So they're advocates for the scholars.
Yes.
So you got built-in cheerleaders at home,
I love it.
right?
Yes.
Because I know what's going on in this program, and I know how it's benefiting you, and I know how it's opening up doors and giving you opportunities that you wouldn't otherwise have.
Right.
Because of maybe, again, we're underserved. So sometimes it may be because of where you live or because of your economic infrastructure at home that you don't get certain opportunities. But what CORE does is with our partners and with folks that donate to CORE, then that money goes into a fund that we're a nonprofit, so we're helping people. We're not, that money is not going into Jeff Jones's pocket. That money is going into, to help people. Like, say, for example, if there is a family whose lights get turned off, then that money allows us to create a micro grant for that family where they're not embarrassed, and we can pay their light bill for that month.
Yes,
right? Give them another 30 days of, okay, we can breathe a little bit.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, and I know I'm kind of going back and forth, but because of the work that we do, we have the CORE Academy, which is what we do with our scholars. Right? That's a whole curriculum of self-awareness, social awareness, community service, and enrichment projects, plus also STEM activities.
Right. Okay.
On the cutting edge of technology. Okay. But also, the Parent Academy is a big part of the program because that supports CORE Academy, right? Yeah. And then when I mentioned that we are able to follow kids from 6th grade to 12th grade, then there's a whole regime built in over those years. So this scholar might come in really, he might be what we call a high flyer. He may come in as somebody who's not engaging, who's not scholarly, and then the belonging to this group and the educating every day and the expectation and accountability from the social emotional champion in those conversations that talk about the trauma in the home. Yes. In those conversations. Those folks that facilitate the curriculum are teaching those scholars every day basically nuances on how to be better people. Gotcha. Right? Okay. And so you gravitate to that because you're coming every day. Yes. Right? And so being in that environment every day, then having opportunities to go to see enrichment workshops where there's art, or you're going to the Smith Center where you get to see a play. Your world's open up. There are kids in this town that haven't even gone to the Strip. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So there are kids that don't know that the Strip exists. That don't. They think they're out of town. You take them on I-15 and drop them off on the Strip.
It's in another city.
Are we in California yet?
Right. Wow. Okay.
So there's that part of it, but as service of the community, then we have to show them that we have to widen up that world for them.
Exactly.
And once you widen up that world, then what happens is they get to be hungrier for success, right?
Love it. And
they get involved in other things. And so we are not one-dimensional. And when we go to these schools, so we're in Core started out, I think last year we were in 2 schools. Now we're in Democracy Prep, West Prep Middle and a High School, Brentley Middle School, Swanston Middle School, and Finley. We'll be starting programming in Finley on the 30th of October. So we are scaling really fast.
Nice.
But we've gone from, let's say, 125 kids to 500 kids.
Wow.
In a short period of time. But what we're trying to do is make an impact. And we have an agreement, an MOU with Clark County School District, so we're completely legitimate. Our board is amazing. I can't speak enough about them because I was part of the board, but they get things done, and a lot of boards sometimes get stagnant in making decisions. But they're very supportive. Shout out to the Rogers Foundation for the support that they've given us. It's amazing, just my team. The advisors is the name I was thinking of. So the advisors are the folks that carry the program. Right? Those are the folks that are facilitating the program every day and teaching these kids new skills and new things about themselves. And then we have a program called Career We Can. And I'm so excited about Career We Can because Career We Can is a space that professionals can share what they do and how they got, what their journey has been.
I love it.
So we had a gentleman by the name of Vincent Rotolo who owns Good Pie right there on Main Street. And he had this whole journey about how he got into the pizza game. And it seemed like it just would be such a simple thing, but Vincent was so passionate about when he was 14 years old working in a pizza place and how that nagging followed him around up into his 40s and 50s.
Wow.
And now he's the owner of a pizza place. Have somebody open a whole nother pizza place downtown. And then had his calling. You know, and so for him to be able to tell his story to those scholars and see that perseverance is always looming, then that teaches those scholars something that they probably didn't even know that they had within them, right?
Agreed.
So,
you know, there's a Bible verse that people like to quote all the time, and it says, "Without a vision, the people perish." Right. So it's very important for everyone, right? Not just youth, man, but for everyone to see people who are operating, you know, at a level of success.
Absolutely.
Because once you see that, right, now you can chart a path for yourself because it becomes a possibility.
Absolutely.
Right? Whereas if you hadn't seen that before, right, all you know is what you know. Right? So again, that's the expanding of the horizons. I really love everything that Core is about, because it's a holistic approach, right, to a problem that has been happening in communities for generations across the board. There should be a Core in every city, as far as I'm concerned, brother. You know, so there should be one. I wish there was a Core, you know, in Patterson, New Jersey, when I was coming up through the ranks, you know. But I was fortunate, and I had people who came into my life that expanded my horizons.
We have our Director of Impact is a New Jersey lady.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I like her already.
Shout out to Anisha O'Donnell. She is amazing. And somebody that I love talking to about Core because she takes deep dives, and she is like the lieutenant of, I would say, of our founder, just because
I love it.
Because she knows everything, the nuances of Clark County School District and the do's and the don'ts that we can't, you know, because we're partners. So, you know, as a nonprofit, we operate solely as a nonprofit, but we like to partner with the schools that we're in. When I say partner, we don't want to be, those people down that hallway in that room. We want to be talking to kids on campus and being mindful of, you know, security issues on campus, and maybe not intervening, but also being able to report what's going on and communicating with scholars and families in a way that they know that we care, right? And so she is a champion of that, and makes sure that our program team is in full swing.
I love it. I love it. All right. So I'm looking at the time. I think it's very important, right, that we covered what we covered today as far as, who CORE is, right, and what CORE does in the community. So now, you out there on the other side of the camera, there should be two questions in your mind right now. Number one, right, what if somebody who is local here, if they wanted to, like, physically be a support to CORE? I mean, are there volunteer opportunities? And
there are volunteer opportunities.
Okay, so how would they go about that?
Excuse me. So go to our website, www.corewecan.org. www.corewecan.org. We'll get an email. We'll reach out to you and find out what area you want to work out in. Also, if you go to our website, then you can donate. You can be a monthly donor. You can be a one-time donor. And those funds go to helping all of these scholars that are in underserved communities be successful. And what I mean by that is, for all of the programming that we do, it's not free. Most of the time, we can partner with folks that doesn't cost, or where there's no cost or there's low cost.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we have to put back into the pot so we can have program functionality. Mm-hmm. We can function. We have 5 different sites, so we want to be able to buy supplies and support and do events where kids can have fun, yes, but also learn. Right. And when you talk about, this as someone from IT, with the IT background, when you talk about implementing technology, yes, then it's not cheap, right?
Exactly.
So we have to have something that supports that. But in an effort to, if anyone out there wants to contribute to CORE in in-kind services, or as a volunteer, or part of Career We Can, go to www.corewecan.org.
corewecan.org. Now, all right, you mentioned a little bit about the financial donations, which we're going there too. At Tap and Ash Social Lounge, right, we have committed to raising $10,000,
yeah,
right, for the CORE organization. Now I'm gonna tell y'all how you can help, right? Because we are going to be splitting into teams. There's a lot of different groups within Tap and Ash, and we all come together and we all got love. But there's also some, some camaraderie and friendly competition as well. Oh, yeah. So we're gonna break up into some teams, right? So I'm calling out, right? I'm calling out Cigar Gurus, right? I'm calling out Sin City Cigar Society, right? I'm calling out who else we got out there, bro? Ashing Out Cigar Group, right? Puff a Minute is going to have a team, right? So for everybody who follows a Puff a Minute, and there's others out there, you know who you are, right? I'm not trying to leave anybody out. I'm just laying out the blueprint for you. But for everybody who follows us on a Puff a Minute, right, there will be a QR code, right? Yep. At the end of this episode, right? And what we want you to do is we want you to go there, right, and to donate money, right? And we're gonna see if we can raise more money than everybody else on our way to this $10,000 goal. All right. So again, I know a Puff Minute goes all over the place, right? So I want y'all to jump on board, man, and support this, because this is a very, very powerful organization that is making a difference in the community. And there's a lot of organizations out there that say they're making a difference, but I'm proud to be sitting here, all right, with Mr. Jones right now, who is actually in the fight, who's actually in his life has been a life of service, man. I mean, there's other stories that we could touch upon that you may have heard on where people have come back, from the past, right? And there's no bigger blessing, right? There's no bigger, compliment than for someone to come back from the past and say, Mr. Jones, you changed my life.
Oh yeah,
right.
Sure.
That's huge, and that has happened, man. And man, it's a wonderful thing. It almost like when the first time I saw a story like that on Facebook or Instagram or wherever I saw it, man, it brought tears to my eyes.
It brings tears to my eyes. Yes. Usually it happens when you're not expecting it, and for you to be someone who was looking for that kind of pathway to being successful. Yes. Just somebody to listen, or somebody to guide you, or somebody to actually care.
Yes.
That's the big thing.
Exactly.
It's nothing like that feeling when you know that they finally figured out that you care.
Yes.
Ooh,
that's it right there.
Make me cry.
All right. Well, we're gonna shut this one down. But again, make sure that you get in touch. CoreWeCan.org. Right. There's a lot of information there. Follow us at a Puff a Minute, and we're gonna be putting up information about two things, right? How you can just directly support financially for this particular effort, and also, again, man, come on, have some fun with us. We're gonna be playing golf on the 2nd, November 2nd, right? Big Smoke Weekend, right? And like I said, proceeds from that event will be going to CORE as well. So if you're a golfer, come on to town. I might need one on my squad right now, man. I'm forcing because I had somebody drop out. So you know what I'm saying. If you a scratch golfer, holla at me. I could use you right now.
Also, one thing that we forgot to mention.
What was that?
When you go to Tapanash, if you're in the city of Las Vegas,
yes.
You go to Tapanash, there's a roundup when you pay for your cigars and your drinks, and you can contribute that way. So,
exactly.
So we're happy to partner with my childhood friend Melvin and his wife, lovely wife, Michelle, at Tapanash, because they have supported CORE from the beginning. They made CORE their primary nonprofit for not just this event, but also for the rest of the year. And I think that's phenomenal.
It is.
And to be able to just go into a place and make a small contribution, no matter how many cents or dollars it is making a difference.
I agree 100%.